Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the March 21st edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Jay Rankin. We'll look at what the passage of health care reform means for you and your future.
We'll break down the costs of capital punishment during a nationwide economic crisis.
In sports, one basketball team begins its long off-season today. The other is still playing. But are the signs of life too little too late?
Weathercaster Katie Craven will tell us if we'll see more of this weekend's sunny skies and seasonal temperatures.
All that in a colorful cultural convocation.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Tens of millions of uninsured Americans might soon have health insurance. Good evening, I'm Lauren McGaha.
And I'm Chris Neal. Thanks for joining us. Last night's landmark healthcare vote could extend coverage to 32 million uninsured Americans under 65. The measure has created tons of controversy. Reporter Jay Rankin joins us live in the studio with more about what the vote means for us and the future for healthcare. Jay?
Chris, after months of debate and decades of failed attempts, President Obama is finally on the cusp of signing a major piece of healthcare legislation, something no president has done since Lyndon Johnson pushed Medicare through Congress in 1965.
19, the nays are 212. The motion to concur in the Senate amendment is adopted.
The House of Representatives voted yesterday to approve a health care reform bill identical to the one that the Senate passed this past December. The resolution succeeded by a vote of 219 to 212, a slim margin to be sure, but the numbers behind the bill are anything but small. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says the bill costs $940 billion and will extend coverage to 32 million uninsured Americans. Additionally, the bill is estimated to reduce the federal deficit by $143 billion during the next 10 years. Pundits have focused heavily on how the bill affects older Americans, but a number of items in the bill affect students and young people. For example, young people are now permitted to stay on their parents' insurance plan until the age of 26. Younger Americans are also far more likely to be uninsured by choice, even if they can afford coverage. But under the new rules, people without insurance will have to pay fines. Anthony Dent is chairman of the UNC College Republicans. He says students need to keep this in mind and turn out to vote to get involved in the process.
If you look back in recent decades, just the voter turnout for the elderly versus the young means that politicians are way more focused on the concerns of the elderly as opposed to the young.
Amit Rao is political director for the UNC Young Democrats. He says student activism goes far beyond just voting.
We tried to do as much as possible to support President Obama's platform. We've organized phone banks, we've called senators, and in the weeks leading up to the healthcare bill, we called David Price's office so many times.
Given the far-reaching nature of the legislation, the younger generation will feel its effects for years to come, both enjoying its potential benefits and bearing its potential costs.
We expect the president to sign the health care bill tomorrow afternoon, but the process doesn't end there. The Senate still needs to approve a reconciliation bill, which is intended to resolve differences between the House and Senate versions.
Okay, Jay, when can we expect to see some of the effects of this bill?
Well, some changes, such as a ban on dropping patients with pre-existing conditions, will start immediately, but other changes will take longer. State-based health insurance exchanges, a key part of the reform package, won't get funding until 2015.
All right, that's Jay Rankin starting us off tonight live in our studio. Thanks, Jay.
North Carolina community colleges are one step closer to opening the doors to undocumented immigrants wanting to better their education. The State Board of Community Colleges voted 13-1 to approve a policy that would allow undocumented immigrants to attend community colleges here in North Carolina. According to the policy, immigrants must meet the following stipulations. Students have to have a high school diploma from the United States. They must pay out-of-state tuition, roughly $7,000 each year, and they may not take the spot of a state or United States citizen. The policy still has to pass the legislature's Rules Review Commission.
The Chapel Hill Police and Fire Departments, along with the SBI, continue to investigate the cause of a house fire that claimed the lives of 2 Chapel Hill residents. The fire broke out at this duplex at 1819 Legion Road Extension in Chapel Hill late Friday night. Firefighters quickly put out the fire and discovered 2 bodies inside the home. Officials haven't identified the victims yet, but the property owner believes the victims are Michael and Leslie Hirsch, a retired couple from Florida. Both Chapel Hill Police and the SBI have launched a criminal investigation into the cause of the fire, a standard procedure for the SBI. We'll bring you more information as it becomes available.
The Daily Tar Heel is under scrutiny this week for what the people there do best, right. More than 100 UNC students petitioned the Daily Tar Heel to begin using gender-neutral language in its reporting and delivered more than 400 student signatures to the DTH offices Thursday night. The university has already adopted gender-neutral language, but campus groups say for more than a semester, the DTH has ignored their pleas to make the switch. Many students agreed that gender-biased language can have a ripple effect on women's empowerment.
These are all things that we don't think are very important. They all contribute to this society where women are put down, and these are the little things that we can change to kind of help that.
DTH Editor-in-Chief Andrew Dunn says the newspaper is in the business of communication and that clarity trumps neutrality. Dunn says the DTH could make a switch, but not under his watch. The Office of the Provost has drafted a letter asking the DTH to reconsider its position.
Soon, you might have to think twice before answering that very important phone call while you're on the road. The town of Chapel Hill has proposed a handheld cell phone ban for all drivers. Currently, the state charges anywhere from $25 to $100 for anyone caught texting behind the wheel. But this proposed ban would go beyond the current law. Senior education major Jake Reardon says the new ban will prevent unnecessary frustration and accidents if law enforcement keeps drivers away from the extra distraction.
It might make me feel a lot less road rage because I hate getting stuck behind somebody and then I pass them and they're on the cell phone. That makes me really mad.
The Chapel Hill Town Council will hold off passing any laws until after the North Carolina General Assembly reviews the causes and risks associated with the driver distraction on April 15th.
Former United States Secretary of the Treasury Henry Paulson will be the guest speaker tonight at the FedEx Global Education Center. The event launches the university's new Global Research Institute. Paulson will answer questions about the 2008 financial crisis and discuss the issues affecting the global financial system. The event is at 5:30 at the FedEx Global Education Center on the corner of Macaulay and Pittsboro Streets. The event is free to the public and doors open at 5 p.m. The death penalty. It's controversial on many fronts, and now it's under even more scrutiny during this economic downturn. More than 160 people sit on death row right now in North Carolina, and the costs are adding up. Andrea Blandford joins us in our satellite studio. Andrea?
That's right, Lauren. And with each execution costing the state more than $2 million, activists want to know, is it worth it?
To repeal the death
For UNC sophomore Katie Varner, the death penalty is personal. Her cousin is sitting on death row in a Florida prison.
He made some mistakes and everything, but he's still a person and he's still my cousin, and he still deserves the right to live.
Varner and other UNC students join advocates in a weekly vigil held outside Raleigh Central Prison, protesting the use of the death penalty. Vigil leader Scott Bass and his wife Roberta run Raleigh's Nazareth House, a portion of their home converted to serving the families of death row inmates while they visit their loved ones at the prison just 3 miles away. Bass says capital punishment rarely brings relief to the victims' families.
They're more useful to the prosecution if the victims are more angry and more raw still. That's not healing.
And that's not all. In a recent study, 57% of police chiefs said the death penalty was an ineffective crime-fighting tool, while only 39% said it deterred criminal behavior. UNC law professor Richard Rosen says dropping the appeals would save money and lawyer fees, but that could be at the expense of an innocent life.
If you want to speed it up, then you have got to understand that we're more likely to execute the wrong people.
Rosen says North Carolina is ahead of the national curve on fair capital trials with the enactment of the Racial Justice Act just last year. But Bass says the public still needs to realize the magnitude of these cases.
If the state is going to kill people on our behalf, we at least ought to insist they do it for a darn good reason.
Varner says she's motivated by her cousin's story, and her group's work is helping to raise death penalty awareness.
People honk their horns and they see us and they know we're here, and just to know that folks still care about it, I think is a big deal.
North Carolina's death penalty is currently on hold while officials review the ethical use of lethal injection. The last execution carried out in North Carolina was in 2006.
Now, Andrea, at this point, North Carolina still has death penalty on the books. So is there anything we can do to keep the costs down if we continue to use it?
Well, right now, Dr. Rosen says too many crimes are eligible to go to capital trial, and legislators should rewrite the law so that fewer cases fall into such an expensive process. That would essentially save North Carolinians thousands or even millions in tax dollars.
All right, that's Andrea Blanford in our satellite studio. Thanks, Andrea.
Lauren, we usually don't associate the Elite Eight in March Madness with saddles and chaps.
No, definitely not. Coming up, a look at inside the sport that has its riders chomping at the bit for the Ultimate Championship trophy.
Oh, I must be careful. Well, that's a nice picture.
Come on, Anna.
Okay.
Foreclosure doesn't affect just you. It affects your whole family, too. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage, we can help. Call 1-888-995-HOPE, because nothing is worse than doing nothing.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
The UNC equestrian team has its own version of March Madness, but reporter Mary Proctor says there are no basketballs, no hoops, just some horsing around and some serious showing off.
At the beginning of the day, competitors line up to draw the names of the horses they'll be riding. Rider Emily Cushman competed in novice flat and brought in UNC's first ribbon of the day.
Best place rider is number 148, Emily Cushman from UNC Chapel Hill.
Competing at the intercollegiate level can be particularly challenging because riders are unfamiliar with the horses they compete on. All they're allowed to do is walk around a little bit before entering the ring for their class. UNC rider Nicole Colson told us how she was feeling after mounting up.
I'm in the beginner level walk trot, so this is my first actual big show, so I'm definitely nervous but excited too.
Riding an unfamiliar horse can be a risky business. This UNC rider has the bruises to show what can happen when you fall off. Kate Gage is the new equestrian team coach who moved from California this semester to join the ranks at UNC. She shared her reflections with us as the show was winding down.
I thought they did really good. You know, making it to regionals is a big accomplishment, and we got one rider going to zones, which is an even bigger accomplishment and really exciting. So we'll be excited to attend Virginia Tech for zones in a couple of weeks.
It's been a long day for the riders and the horses as well. I think Woody here is ready for a nap. In Laurinburg, I'm Mary Proctor, Carolina Week.
The team will head to Virginia Tech next month to compete in zones, and if the Hills win there, they'll try to ride on to the national championship. Hunger is a problem both here and abroad. Chapel Hill and Carrboro residents are taking baby steps from home to tackle a worldwide issue. On Sunday, Orange County locals stepped off a 4-mile trek through Carrboro, Chapel Hill, and UNC's campus for the 24th annual Crop Hunger Walk. The Church World Service, also known as CWS, hosts the event in different communities throughout the U.S. CWS will distribute 75% of the proceeds to global hunger education, refugees, and disaster relief. The remaining 25% will stay right here in the Chapel Hill-Carrboro area for the Interfaith Council's hunger relief programs.
According to the CDC, between 120 and 125,000 women in North Carolina have breast cancer. Students and Chapel Hill residents are raising money to fight the disease. On Saturday, Sisters of Zeta Tau Alpha, along with other students and families, took to Cameron Avenue for the 21st annual Franklin 5K run. The sisters wore pink, the signature color for people to show support for those diagnosed with the disease, and UNC mascot Ramses paid a visit to cheer on the runners. More than 600 students and families were at the event, which raised over $40,000. And the weather was just flawless on Saturday, perfect for that 5K run.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful weekend. And weathercaster Katie Craven is here to tell us how much longer these sunny skies are going to stick around. Katie?
Yeah, that's right. Spring just started in a really nice way. We saw some warm temperatures and some sunny skies. Although today was a bit breezy, many were able to get out and enjoy the scene by taking a walk in between classes. Spring showers are important.
Un día en el bosque las ratas jugaban. Escucha Smokey antes de tratar.
Solo tú.
No juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego. Fuego. No hay nada para que un pobre conejo asustado a un pobre ratón sin casa en que vivir. Si un hermoso bosque es lo que deseas, no juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego.
Solo tú puedes prevenir los fuegos forestales.
¡Fuego! Take my hand and start a brand new day. And together as one we'll start to see some change.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people, connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
I'm Jeremy Call, and I'm a
Well, spring is here, in case you haven't heard or checked your calendar, and it's brought some warm yet slightly unsettled weather with it. We saw some showers as we headed through yesterday and overnight last night, and even through this morning we had a couple of rumbles of thunder as some showers passed by. But coming up in your forecast, I'll tell you when you can expect that sun to return. Radar right now, we're sitting high and dry here in Raleigh. A few scattered showers up to our northeast and back to our west. There is a few areas that are reporting some winter weather as well, but nonetheless, we are sitting high and dry here in the Triangle. Now, last night we saw a cold front pass through our area, and the low pressure system situated just to our northwest that is in control of that cold front allowed for some scattered showers ahead of that front, and that is what we saw last night. Now, the counterclockwise rotation around this low will continue on through later on tonight, and these showers that you see right now over the southeast, those will swing into our area and give us a chance for a little more rain in our rain bucket as we head into the overnight hours tonight and into the early morning. High pressure will soon take its place, and we'll see that sun and warm weather return. Speaking of the warm weather, we saw some really nice temperatures this weekend as we began spring. Friday, although it wasn't the official start of spring, temperatures were on the rise, and we saw temperatures top out right around 74 degrees. But Saturday, that was really the start of spring. We saw some really nice temperatures, highs in the upper 70s actually, and that was actually the warmest day we've had since before Thanksgiving, believe it or not. Sunday, we saw a little cooler temperatures, but that is because we saw some increased cloud cover and some showers, and that prohibited us from getting temperatures up to where we really wanted them to be. All right, your Tuesday travel plans across the state. Asheville, you can see we'll see some scattered showers tomorrow morning with highs around 56 degrees. Greensboro, we'll see much of the same story with some scattered showers in the morning hours, but tapering off as you head to work and through your lunchtime hours. High of 62 in Greensboro, and in Wilmington, very nice weather, beach weather you might say. Mostly sunny skies with a high of 64. We're getting those temperatures up there slowly but surely. All right, your Carolina Week forecast for tonight: light rain. Take a jacket or an umbrella if you're out heading to dinner. Cloudy skies will keep things breezy, and we'll keep lows in the upper 30s. But for tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies after some lingering clouds in the morning, I'll say, and we'll keep things breezy with winds 10 to 15 miles per hour from the west-southwest, and some gusty things as possible. So if you're heading to the bus stop, make sure you take a jacket with you. Things could get a bit breezy. Your 5-day forecast looks like this. Again, tomorrow we'll see some scattered showers in the morning, and by Wednesday and Thursday we bring back the sunshine and we warm things up really nicely. So make sure you get outside, throw a frisbee around, take a walk. Be sure just to get out and about before those rain showers come back for Friday.
Thank you, Katie. So happy that spring is finally here.
Yes, it's here, so get outside and enjoy it.
Like the nice weather, but not so happy about those spring showers.
No, but it'll be light. Don't worry too much about it.
All right, thank you. The coming of spring has students joining forces to celebrate a season of colors with other cultures. This weekend, hundreds gathered to color themselves, friends, and strangers to share in an Indian tradition called Holi. The celebration traditionally brings together people from all social classes to celebrate the beginning of spring. Campus-wide, Sangam and other student organizations sold paint packets and t-shirts in order to raise money for the Bhutanese Empowerment Project, an organization that helps refugees from Bhutan adjust to American life.
When we think of art, we often think of a painting or a sculpture, but what if you were the art? At Saturday night's Task Party, hosted by artist Oliver Herring, students had the chance to interact with their environment using common, everyday items. The task? Jot an idea down, throw it in a hat, and pick your own task. Some students used cardboard, others used toilet paper and plastic wrap to act out the art. Event organizer and artist Oliver Herring says this is a global activity and he's happy to share it with the UNC community. And Simone Scott joins us now in the studio.
Yep, Simone, it was a great weekend for baseball. What else is going on with sports?
Right, as Katie told you guys earlier, it was an amazing weekend to spend outside. I actually took in a game at the Bosch. It was quite the experience. After the break, the baseball team put itself in a position to win the All this weekend. But will the bullpen hold those leads? We'll show you after the break.
Mom!
What?
You can't find Ichabod.
What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Hey guys, this is my teenage friend Fred.
Rad! Hey pal, you want to pay attention to the road?
Relax, man, I got it.
Look, my man, if your bad driving gets me killed, you better hope you die too, or I will haunt you silly. And I'm not just gonna float over your bed like, woo! I'm gonna be making a more annoying noise, like, ah! And instead of wearing those long white robes, I think I'll wear something more form-fitting and upsetting. The other ghosts will look and be like, wow, we've never seen that before.
Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Welcome to sports. I'm Simone Scott. The men's basketball team just keeps rolling along. Yes, it's in the NIT, but there's plenty to be gained from winning in the Big Dance's stepsister of a tournament. Reporter Nick King joins us live in the studio right now. Nick, what changes have you noticed these past few games?
Simone, discounting the Duke game, which I'd rather not talk about, and I'm sure you wouldn't either, I'm seeing more and more positive signs from this team, especially some of the young guys, particularly John Henson. Let's take a look at some of the video from Saturday. First, we're going to see Henson catching at the top of the key and finishing. All right, we didn't see it the whole way, but John Henson, who we didn't see dribble much in January, now taking it to the key. We've seen that the whole year. His athleticism is unparalleled. Now I'm going to freeze this real quick. When he caught the ball in the post earlier in the year, he'd usually kick the ball back out or make an awkward move. Now look at this. Oh, now that is pretty. A couple of post moves and he's going to be unstoppable. He really has a nose for the ball as well. You're going to see him reach in behind for the steal here. When he gets it that close, forget about it. And the Heels played against the country's best shot blocker on Saturday, but this kid might be the next great one. That two-handed block should have sealed the deal on Saturday. Last month, he wouldn't have even been in a close game at the end. Henson came to Chapel Hill as a heralded five-star recruit. Was largely disappointing for the first half of the year. But now, Simone, I really think we're starting to see what he's capable of.
He is definitely a joy to watch, Nick. Now, what else have you seen that makes you hopeful for next year?
Well, Simone, I think we've started to see Leslie McDonald at times started to figure out his offensive game. And when Tyler Zeller is on the court and healthy, he looks good too. I just hope he stays psychologically strong because of all these injuries. Plus the addition of our three incoming freshmen, which they can all score, which is the biggest thing this team lacks. I think we could have a fun year next year.
I'm excited. Thanks so much. That's Nick King live in our studio. Now, after a loss in the first round of the NCAA tournament, the women's basketball team is unfortunately done for the year. Tough task for the Heels, but they kept the game close through the first half. Watch UNC get the fast break going. Italy Lucas finishes with the basket. UNC trailed by 4 at halftime, and Coach Hatchell tried to rally the squad, but Gonzaga was on fire in the second half. The Zags' Tiffany Shiver knocks down a 3, and she was only getting started. Check this out. Just a minute later, she hits another 3, and that would be the dagger. UNC loses 82-76. The Diamond Heels are struggling a bit in conference play as well. In the first game on Friday against Florida State, Carolina got off to an early lead with a 2 RBI single by Jessie Wiersbicki. Later in the game, a wild throw would allow the Seminoles to score 2 runs. Florida State will go on to win 4-3. On Saturday, the Heels tied the series with a strong offensive showing. Here, Wiersbicki scores in the bottom of the second. Later in the same inning, Jacob Stalling hits a 2 RBI triple. The Heels go on to win 10-4. In the final game on Sunday, the Heels took an early lead off a 3-run double by Dylan Hazlett. With bases loaded in the 6th inning, pitcher Greg Holt gets Florida State the ground into a double play. But with the score tied at 3 in the 9th, Florida State scores 2 runs and wins 5-3, taking the series 2-1. Now don't look now, there's a new group of athletes on campus setting themselves up for a national title run. Friday against the Dartmouth Big Green, the Heels men's lacrosse team struggled with scoring early on. Dartmouth goalie Mike Novoselic having none of it, but check out number 20, Jimmy Dunster, sprinting down the field and getting the goal. The Big Green would even it up, but Dartmouth catcher Josh Etzion comes in from right of your screen and fires, tying the shot. But it was all UNC after that, with goal after goal after goal. They get the win 15-6 and remain undefeated for the season. So Chris, Lauren, lots of great sports things going on. We're excited to get into the spring seasons.
All right, thank you, Simone.
Thanks, Simone.
Coming up after the break.
We'll tell you about an important part of Native American history that's still relevant today.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week and Carolina Connection online at carolinaweek.org.
One of the key images that come to mind when we think about Native Americans is a powwow.
That's right, Chris, and Carolina Week reporter Elizabeth Lamb tells us that it's as much a part of the present as it was of the past.
That's something you don't see in Fetzer Gym every day. Members of dozens of American Indian tribes packed the gym dressed in full regalia for the Carolina Indian Circle's 23rd annual powwow. Pawnee tribe member Josh Richardson calls the powwow a spiritual family reunion, a chance to pray and dance with family and friends. And for Richardson, dancing at powwows has been a way of life.
I've been dancing since ever since I could walk. My mom always had me out there dancing since I could walk.
The tribes come from all along the East Coast and learn their moves from family members and also learn the art of crafting tribal items. They travel from powwow to powwow selling their goods. Members of the Osage tribe have visited this powwow for more than 7 years, selling their handcrafted items like this shawl and handbag. Booths also lined the gym for people interested in learning more about American Indian culture, like these sophomores Sarah Buisson and Michelle David. What drew them to the powwow?
I took this Native American class freshman year. We actually took it together. So yeah, that's why.
And while the public enjoyed the steady beat of the drum and the vivid costumes, Richardson says there's more to it than the obvious cultural celebration.
Most time when we dance, we might have somebody on our mind, like a friend or family member that we want to pray for when we dance.
Next year, the powwow hopes to wow even more people. In Chapel Hill, I'm Elizabeth Lamb, Carolina Week.
All right, that sure looks like a lot of fun, but that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.